DreAllDay.com.
Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk deep understanding, a deep level of understanding of your area of expertise, or any area in which you want to learn. Actually, it doesn't have to be an area of expertise. It just needs to be somewhere that you want to learn. Understanding when you consume content, like watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, reading books, taking a course, going to a conference, etc. That is what we call surface level understanding of material. You go read a book one time, you have a surface level understanding of the material, which means you went over it one time. You might retain, who knows, let's say 10%, 20% if you're a super exceptional individual, 20% of the information. Doesn't mean you have a deep understanding of any of it, even though you retain it. Retaining and deeply understanding something are two different things. Retaining just means you can remember it, but do you have a deep understanding? That's a different question. To get a deep understanding of material, you have to do things that are parallel to when you were in school, high school, college, whatever, grad school, studying material. When you study material, how does that differ from consuming material? Everyone who's gone to school can answer that question. When you're studying, what do? First of all, you go over the material more than one time. Secondly, you do things to make sure you have retained the material. So you might read it, but you'll also take notes on what you read. You might require yourself to implement some of the stuff that you have read and taken notes on. You may go and talk to other people. You might be in a study group with other people who are also consuming that material to make sure everyone is retaining it and actually doing something with it. You may have people who are holding you accountable to make sure that you know the material. So in school, for example, we had quizzes and tests and exams to where you had to demonstrate in some way that you had retained the information above the level of merely consuming it. You at least had to keep it in your flash memory long enough to pass the test, but you had to do things with it. To have a deep understanding of material, usually you need to go over it multiple times. So for example, I'll read a book, and if the material in that book is very important to me, I'm in the season where I really need the material from that book, I'll read the book 7, 8 times. There are books I've read 7 or 8 times that I just got finished reading again so far this year. I'll read the physical version of the book, whether an ebook or the actual physical book, physical meaning I had to look at it with my eyes, and then I'll go get the audio version of the book, and I'll listen to the audio version of the book, or I'll do it in the opposite direction. Then I'll go through, let's say, for example, a course. There's a course that I just finished going through. I'm going to go through it again, because this time that I just went through it, it's probably my 3rd or 4th time going through it, just listening to it. I'm going to go through it again. This time, I'm going to take notes on every point that the speakers said, and I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to basically make an outline of everything the speaker said, and that's going to become basically like a business plan, a game plan for me of things that I'm going to implement into my business based on the points that I'm going to take from that course that I took. This is how you get a deep understanding of something. Understand this as a rule of thumb. You don't really know something until you have done it, and you don't really know something until you can teach it. So to really know something, you have to implement it. You cannot just consume it. So if I tell you about a book and you say, oh yeah, I read that book too, doesn't mean you know anything. You don't know anything from the book. All you did was read the book. It doesn't prove anything. You got to actually implement what is in the book to know it. And then if you really know it, that means you can go to another person and you can teach them the principles and the concepts from that book to the point that they can get results from implementing what you taught, and you didn't even write the book. All you did was just, you understood it, you implemented it yourself, and then you understood it well enough that you could teach it to another person. That's the higher level of learning. Then the higher levels from that is when you get people to pay you for that same ability, your ability to teach your knowledge to other individuals. So the reason why the deep understanding of material matters is because if you're going to get to the highest level of anything that you do, you must have a deep understanding of the material that you're teaching. And again, that means you've consumed it, you've studied it, you know it because you've done it, and you really know it because you can teach it. And then you get to the highest level people in any discipline. Usually they're the people who are getting paid to do it, right? I mean, that's why we know that they're high level, because they're getting paid, because they're making money off of it. So for you to get a high level understanding of anything, first of all, you got to decide where you want to get that level. Then you got to decide who's going to give you the information, where you're going to get what's going to be your source, or what will be your sources, plural. And then you got to go get it, whatever that material is going to be, and have the discipline to actually implement the stuff that you are taking in. This is all part of the process. This is all part of the game. And the biggest tragedy that I notice with most people in any aspect, any area of life, is that most people go through life only skimming the surface of everything. They never get to a deep level of understanding on any subject, because people only skim the surface. Because go deep on the subject requires some commitment, mental commitment. You got to buy into whatever it is you're going to learn, and you got to put the time in. I mean, it's as simple as that. You got to put the time in order to get that learning. It doesn't just happen just because you snap your fingers all of a sudden, abracadabra, you got all this knowledge. You got to do the work, and that work is actual work, and that's the game. So you decide what you want to do. All that said, make sure you are in my university, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Links down below in the description. There is where you can have me as your direct coach. We have a 4-part framework based around mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. This is part of the mindset. So mindset is not just be disciplined and be confident and motivated. That's part of it, but mindset is also about the way that you think about things, so you can come up with the right insights that allow you to implement things that produce outcomes. That's all part of mindset. A lot of people don't understand that, but I'm going to make sure I clear that up. So workonyourgameuniversity.com, link down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre all day.